The alarm had been quiet for 300 years. Commander Thexatal stared at the red light blinking on his console, his four eyes widening in disbelief. Nothing ever happened in the Kalthros expanse. Nothing could happen there. The radiation storms and particle clouds made it the most dangerous region in this quarter of the galaxy. "Sir, we have a contact," Officer Myrn said from her station. Her voice carried uncertainty, something Thexatal rarely heard from his science officer. "Run the scan again," Thexatal ordered. "The equipment must be malfunctioning." The monitoring station orbited a dead moon at the edge of the expanse. For centuries, the Vryn sovereignty had maintained this outpost as a warning system. If anything tried to cross the expanse, they would know. But nothing ever tried. The journey was suicide. Myrn's fingers danced across her controls. Long minutes passed while the deep space sensors swept the expanse again. Thexatal watched the data stream across his screens. His heart beat faster with each passing second. "Sir," Myrn said slowly, "the contact is confirmed. There is a vessel in the expanse, deep inside it actually, about 47,000 light-years from the nearest inhabited system." "What species?" Thexatal demanded. Myrn looked up from her console, her expression confused. "Human, sir." The word hung in the air like a mistake. Thexatal felt his breath catch. Humans. The young species from the far edge of the galaxy. They had only developed faster than light travel 200 years ago. Their ships were slow, their technology primitive by galactic standards. They barely had 10 colonies outside their home system. "That is impossible," Thexatal said. "Human ships cannot survive the expanse. Their shielding technology is inadequate. Even our ships cannot safely enter those regions." "I know, sir," Myrn replied. "But the identification codes are definitely human. The signal is strong. The vessel appears to be fully powered and operational." Thexatal stood from his command chair and walked to Myrn's station. He looked at the data himself, searching for any sign of error. The numbers did not lie. A human ship was active inside the Kalthros expanse in a region where space itself became deadly. "How did they get there?" he asked. "Unknown, sir. At standard human FTL speeds, the journey would take 90 years. Even if they left from their furthest colony, they would need decades to reach that position." "Could it be a derelict? An old ship drifting?" Myrn shook her head. "No, sir. The vessel is maneuvering. It has changed course 3 times since we first detected it. Someone is flying that ship." Thexatal felt a chill run through his body. This changed everything. If humans had developed technology that allowed them to cross the expanse, then the sovereignty's intelligence reports were dangerously wrong. The galaxy had dismissed humanity as a minor species, technologically backward and confined to a small region of space. But a species that could survive the Kalthros expanse was not minor at all. "Send an immediate report to the High Council," Thexatal ordered. "Priority level maximum. Then continue tracking the human vessel. I want to know where it is going." "Yes, sir." Thexatal returned to his chair and opened a secure channel. Within an hour, the High Council had convened an emergency session. Thexatal's image appeared before them, projected across light-years of space. High Admiral Korthos spoke first. The old warrior's face was stern and suspicious. "Commander, explain this situation. How can humans be in the expanse?" "I cannot explain it, High Admiral," Thexatal said honestly. "But the data is verified. A human ship is active deep within the Kalthros expanse." "Then the humans are lying about their capabilities," Korthos said. His voice carried anger. "They have hidden their true technology from us. This is deception on a galactic scale." Counselor Vane, a scientist by training, held up one hand. "Let us not jump to conclusions. Perhaps this is a probe or an automated vessel. Humans could have sent it decades ago." "The ship is too large to be a probe," Myrn interjected. "Our scans indicate it is approximately 300 meters long. That is consistent with human deep space research vessels." The council chamber filled with murmurs. Research vessel. That meant crew. That meant living humans were inside the expanse, surviving conditions that should kill them. "Where is the vessel heading?" Counselor Vane asked. Thexatal felt his blood chill before he spoke. "Toward the center of the expanse, Counselor. Toward what we call the Dead Heart." Silence fell across the council. Every species knew about the Dead Heart. It was the most dangerous region in known space, a place where spatial anomalies and exotic radiation reached levels that could tear apart any ship. The Vryn had lost 3 vessels there centuries ago before they declared it permanently off limits. They will die, Admiral Korthos said flatly. No ship can enter the dead heart and survive. Perhaps that is what they believe too, Vane suggested. Perhaps they do not know the danger. Should we warn them? Another counselor asked. We have no diplomatic relationship with humanity, Korthos replied. They have never requested permission to enter our space. This vessel is operating without authorization. Texatal spoke carefully. With respect, High Admiral, the Kalthros Expanse is not claimed territory. It is classified as impassable. No species claims it because no species can use it. Until now, Vane said quietly. The council debated for another hour. Some wanted to send ships to intercept the humans. Others wanted to ignore them and let the Expanse kill them. A few suggested offering assistance. In the end, they reached a compromise. Commander Texatal, High Admiral Korthos said, You will take the scout ship Swiftwing and intercept the human vessel. Establish contact. Determine their capabilities and intentions. If they have developed new technology, we must know about it. The security of the sovereignty depends on accurate intelligence. Yes, High Admiral. And Commander. Korthos added, his voice hard. If the humans refuse to cooperate, you are authorized to use all necessary measures to obtain the information we need. Is that understood? Texatal felt uncomfortable with that order, but he acknowledged it. The council ended the session, leaving him to prepare. 2 hours later, Texatal watched his crew board the Swiftwing. Mirren came with him, along with a security team and their best engineers. The scout ship was the fastest vessel in the Vryn fleet, built for reconnaissance in dangerous territory. As they prepared to depart, Mirren approached Texatal on the bridge. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the human vessel. What does it say? Mirren displayed the message on the main screen. It was text only, written in standard galactic common language. The message was brief and professional. Survey mission in progress. Please do not interfere. Texatal read the words 3 times. Survey mission. The humans were treating the most dangerous region of space like it was a routine assignment. They were not asking for help. They were not fleeing in panic. They were working, sir, Mirren said quietly. If humans can casually survey the dead heart, what else can they do? Texatal had no answer. He gave the order to launch, and the Swiftwing accelerated toward the Kalthros Expanse. Behind them, the monitoring station continued its scans, watching the impossible human ship move deeper into the radiation storms. In the depths of the Expanse, surrounded by deadly energy and spatial chaos, the human vessel continued on its course. Its shields glowed softly against the cosmic violence outside. Inside, the crew worked calmly at their stations, unconcerned by the supposedly impassable void around them, and the galaxy, which had thought it knew humanity's limits, began to realize it had scanned wrong. The Swiftwing shuddered as it entered the outer edges of the Kalthros Expanse. Texatal gripped his command chair, watching the shield indicators climb into the red zone. They had been traveling for 8 days, pushing their engines to maximum safe speed. Now they were finally catching up to the impossible human vessel. Shields at 60% capacity, the engineering officer reported. We are experiencing heavy radiation exposure. Maintain course, Texatal ordered. Mirren, do you have the human ship on sensors? Yes, sir. Contact bearing 273. Distance 40,000 kilometers. They are holding position near a large asteroid field. Texatal leaned forward, holding position. Not fleeing, not destroyed, just waiting. As if the deadly environment around them was nothing more than empty space. Put them on visual, he said. The main screen flickered to life. There, suspended against a backdrop of swirling purple and green radiation clouds, was the human vessel. The ship was smaller than most Vryn military craft, with an unusual angular design. Its hull was dark gray, scarred, and weathered. But what caught Texatal's attention was the shimmer around the ship. The shields were active, but they looked different from any shielding technology he had seen before. They seemed to pulse and shift like something alive. Scan their hull integrity, Texatal ordered. Mirren worked her console, then looked up in amazement. Sir, their hull is reading radiation exposure levels that should have vaporized their shielding an hour ago. But their shields are stable, more than stable. They are actually stronger now than when we first detected them. That is impossible. I am reading the data correctly, sir. The human shields appear to be adapting to the radiation. They are learning from it. Thexatal felt a mixture of awe and concern. Adaptive shields. Technology that improved under stress rather than degraded. The implications were staggering. "Open a communication channel," he said. Static filled the bridge, then cleared. A voice spoke in clear Galactic Common, with a slight accent that marked it as human. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Exploration Service vessel, Tenacity. Please identify yourself." Thexatal composed himself. "I am Commander Thexatal of the Vryn Sovereignty Scout Ship Swiftwing. Captain Chen, your presence in this region is unexpected. We detected your vessel and came to investigate." There was a pause, then a slight laugh. "I imagine it was unexpected. We don't usually broadcast our survey missions, but we picked up your monitoring station scans. Didn't want you to worry." The casual tone surprised Thexatal. This human was treating the deadliest region of space like a routine patrol zone. "Captain, you must be aware that this region is extremely dangerous. The Kalthros Expanse has claimed many ships. We came to offer assistance if needed." "That's kind of you, Commander," Chen replied. Her voice remained friendly but firm. "But we're doing fine. Just conducting a mineral survey. We should be finished in another 3 days." "A mineral survey," Thexatal repeated slowly. "In the Kalthros Expanse. The radiation signatures suggested some interesting deposits. We wanted to check it out." Mirren looked at Thexatal with wide eyes. The humans were treating this like a mining expedition. "Captain Chen," Thexatal said carefully. "May I ask how you reached this location?" "Our intelligence suggests human FTL technology is not capable of such journeys." Another pause. This one felt more deliberate. "Commander, I'm afraid that information is classified. But I can assure you we're here legally. The Expanse isn't claimed territory." "I understand. However, I must warn you. You are heading toward what we call the Dead Heart. It is a region of extreme spatial anomalies. No ship has ever survived entering it." "We appreciate the warning," Chen said, "but our scans show the area is stable enough for our purposes." "We'll be careful." Thexatal realized he was getting nowhere. "Captain, would you be willing to allow us to escort you? We could provide assistance if you encounter difficulties." "Commander, that's a nice offer. But our mission parameters don't allow for joint operations with other species. I'm sure you understand. But feel free to maintain your distance and observe. We have nothing to hide about our survey work." The channel closed. Thexatal sat back in his chair, frustrated. The human captain had been polite, but had revealed nothing useful. No explanation for their technology, no request for help, no concern about the dangers ahead. "Sir, the Tenacity is moving again," Mirren reported. "They are resuming their course toward the Dead Heart." "Follow them," Thexatal ordered. "Maintain a distance of 10,000 kilometers. I want continuous scans of their shields and engines." For the next 6 hours, the swift wing followed the human vessel deeper into the Expanse. The radiation levels continued to climb. Thexatal watched his own shields struggling, power consumption increasing as they fought to keep the deadly energy at bay. But the human ship sailed ahead without any sign of stress. Mirren worked constantly at her station, analyzing every bit of data. Finally, she called Thexatal over. "Sir, I think I understand what they are doing," she said quietly. "Look at this trajectory data." She displayed a 3-dimensional map showing the Tenacity's course. At first it looked random, weaving through the asteroid fields and radiation clouds. But then Mirren highlighted certain areas. "They are not avoiding the worst radiation zones," she explained. "They are flying through them deliberately. And here, look at this. When they entered this particle storm, their shield strength increased by 12%. Thexatal studied the data. They are using the radiation to strengthen their shields." "Exactly. It is like they are riding the energy currents. Our shields fight against the environment, trying to push it away. Their shields embrace it, absorb it, use it. That should be impossible. For us, yes. But humans evolved on a death world, sir. Earth is known for its extreme and unpredictable environment. Perhaps they learned to build technology the same way they evolved, by adapting rather than resisting." Thexatal thought about that. Every Vryn schoolchild learned about Earth, a planet of violent weather, shifting climates, volcanic eruptions, and asteroid impacts. Somehow humanity had survived there and even thrived. Now they had brought that philosophy into space. "Sir," the navigation officer called out, "the Dead Heart boundary is ahead. We are detecting massive spatial distortions. On the screen, space itself seemed to twist and fold. Reality bent in ways that hurt to look at. Thexatal had seen recordings of this region, but witnessing it directly was terrifying. No ship should go in there. The tenacity did not slow down. They are entering the dead heart, Myrn said, her voice filled with disbelief. Captain Chen, Thexatal called over the communication channel. Please reconsider. The spatial anomalies ahead will tear your ship apart. We'll be fine, Commander, but you might want to stay back. It does look pretty rough in there. The human ship crossed the boundary and disappeared into the churning chaos of twisted space. Thexatal stared at the screen, his hands gripping his chair. Every instinct told him to retreat. The Vryn had lost ships in there. Good ships with experienced crews. Going in would be madness, but the humans were inside, somehow surviving, and if Thexatal wanted answers, he had to follow. Engineering, divert all available power to shields, he ordered. Sir, that will not be enough. The dead heart will overwhelm us, I know, but we have to try. The sovereignty needs this information. The engineering officer looked afraid but nodded. Yes, sir. All crew secure for extreme conditions, Thexatal announced. We are entering the dead heart. The swift wing moved forward, crossing the boundary. Immediately, alarms screamed across every console. The ship lurched violently. Thexatal felt the gravity stabilizers fail for a moment, lifting him from his seat before they caught again. Shields failing, someone shouted. Hull stress at critical levels. Myrn's station exploded in sparks. She fell back, her uniform smoking. The medical officer rushed to her side. Thexatal gripped his chair as the ship shook like a leaf in a storm. The main screen showed impossible things. Stars that bent into spirals, space that folded like paper, colors that did not exist in normal physics. They were dying. The swift wing could not survive this. Then, through the chaos, a voice came over the communication channel. Captain Chen's voice, calm and steady. Swift wing, this is the tenacity. We're reading your distress. Hold your position. We're coming to you. On the screen, the human ship turned and accelerated toward them, and as it approached, Thexatal saw something impossible. The space around the tenacity was calm. A bubble of normal reality surrounded the human vessel, and that bubble was expanding, reaching out toward the dying Vryn ship. What are they doing? Someone whispered. Thexatal had no answer. He could only watch as humanity, the species the galaxy had dismissed as primitive, came to save them in the heart of hell itself. The calm was sudden and shocking. One moment, the swift wing was being torn apart by impossible forces. The next, everything stopped. The alarms fell silent. The shaking ceased. Through the viewport, Thexatal could see the twisted chaos of the dead heart still raging, but around his ship, space was normal. Report, he ordered, his voice shaking slightly. The engineering officer checked his console with trembling hands. Shields are stable, sir. Hull stress has dropped to normal levels. All systems are functioning. How? On the screen, the tenacity hung in space 50 meters away. The human ship was projecting some kind of field, a sphere of calm that enclosed both vessels. The spatial storms raged against the barrier but could not penetrate it. Swift wing, this is Captain Chen. Are you okay over there? Thexatal took a breath. We are stable, Captain. Thanks to you. What have you done? Extended our protective field to cover your ship. It is a bit of a power drain, but we can maintain it long enough to get you somewhere safer. Or you could come aboard the tenacity while we finish our work. Your choice. Thexatal looked at his crew. Myrn was being treated for burns, but waved that she was fine. The others looked shaken but uninjured. Going aboard the human ship was not part of his orders, but his orders also had not included nearly dying in the dead heart. Captain Chen, we accept your invitation. If the offer is genuine, of course it is, Commander. We'll match airlocks in 5 minutes. Chen out. Thexatal stood and straightened his uniform. Myrn, you are in command. Keep the ship on standby. I will take a security team aboard the human vessel. Myrn nodded. Be careful, sir. They just saved our lives. I think we can trust them for a brief visit. The docking procedure was smooth. Human airlocks, Thexatal discovered, were compatible with Vryn systems. Either humanity had studied galactic standards carefully, or this was a remarkable coincidence. The airlock opened, and Thexatal got his first look at a human in person. Captain Sarah Chen was shorter than him, with dark hair tied back and eyes that were remarkably calm for someone operating in the most dangerous region of space. She wore a simple blue uniform with minimal decoration. Commander Thexatal, she said, extending her hand in the human greeting. Welcome aboard the tenacity. Thexatal carefully took her hand, mimicking the gesture he had read about in briefing files. The human grip was firm but not aggressive. Thank you for rescuing us, Captain. We underestimated the dangers. Happens to everyone the first time in the Dead Heart. Come on, I will give you a tour. Fair warning, our ship is not fancy. Chen was not exaggerating. As she led Thexatal and his security team through the corridors, he was struck by how cramped everything was. The hallways were narrow. The ceilings were low. Equipment was packed efficiently but tightly. By galactic standards, the tenacity was primitive and uncomfortable, but everything worked. Every system hummed with purpose. The crew moved efficiently through the tight spaces, nodding politely as they passed. And despite the chaos outside, no one seemed worried. Chen brought them to the bridge. It was small, with only 6 crew stations. A tall human with gray hair looked up from a science console and smiled. "Commander, this is Dr. Marcus Webb, our chief science officer." "Marcus, this is Commander Thexatal of the Vryn Sovereignty." Webb stood and shook hands enthusiastically. "Delighted to meet you, Commander. We do not get many visitors out here. Actually, we have never gotten visitors out here. You are making history. I am not sure we intended to," Thexatal said dryly. "Dr. Webb, I must ask, how is your ship surviving these conditions? Our intelligence suggested human technology was not this advanced." Webb and Chen exchanged glances. Chen nodded. "Go ahead, Marcus. They deserve to know after what happened." Webb gestured to his console. "It is all about adaptive shielding, Commander. Let me show you." For the next 30 minutes, Webb explained the human approach to shield technology. Thexatal listened with growing amazement. Traditional shields, Webb explained, worked by brute force. They generated a barrier of energy that pushed away threats. The stronger the threat, the more power needed to resist it. Eventually, any shield would be overwhelmed. Human shields were different. They analyzed incoming energy and adjusted themselves in real time to match it. Radiation was absorbed and redirected. Particle streams were deflected along calculated angles. Spatial distortions were mapped and compensated for. The system learned from every attack, becoming stronger with each new challenge. "But the computational power required," Thexatal said, "to analyze and adjust that quickly across so many variables. It should be impossible." "For conventional computers, yes," Webb agreed. "But we use quantum neural networks. They are modeled after human brain architecture. Millions of parallel processing nodes all learning simultaneously. The system does not calculate the perfect response. It evolves toward it, the same way a human learns to catch a ball without consciously doing the physics." "This is revolutionary," Thexatal said quietly. "It is necessary," Chen corrected. "Commander, do you know much about Earth?" "Only what is in our files. A death world by galactic classification. High gravity, violent weather, tectonic instability." Chen nodded. "That's the polite version. Earth has tried to kill humanity since we first walked upright. Ice ages that buried continents. Volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun for years. Asteroid impacts, mass extinctions, plagues, floods, droughts. Earth is beautiful, but it is also brutal. How did your species survive?" "By adapting," Webb said. "Not by being stronger than the challenges. By being flexible enough to survive them. When the climate changed, we changed with it. When food sources disappeared, we found new ones. We did not conquer Earth, we learned to live with it." Chen gestured to the ship around them. "That philosophy is in everything we build. Our ships are not the biggest or most powerful, but they work in environments that destroy more advanced vessels. Because we do not fight the universe, we adapt to it." Thexatal thought about his own species. The Vryn had evolved on a paradise world. Stable climate, abundant resources, few natural threats. They had become the dominant species through intelligence and cooperation, not survival struggle. Their technology reflected that. Elegant, efficient, powerful, but also rigid. "Commander," Webb said, "may I ask why you followed us into the Dead Heart? You must have known it was dangerous." Thexatal hesitated, then decided honesty was appropriate. "My orders were to determine your capabilities and intentions. The Sovereignty is concerned about any species that can travel through regions we consider impassable. Because it changes the strategic balance," Chen said. It was not a question. "Yes," Chen sighed. "Commander, I am going to be honest with you. Earth needs the resources we are surveying here. We are not trying to threaten anyone. We just want to expand safely. The galaxy is big enough for everyone. But your technology, will remain ours," Chen finished. "Just as your technology remains yours. We are not asking you to share your secrets. We would appreciate the same courtesy." Before Thexatal could respond, an alarm chimed on the bridge. Webb checked his console and frowned. Captain, I am reading another contact. Large vessel bearing 047. How large? Very large. At least 3 kilometers. Configuration unknown. It is not broadcasting any identification. Chen's expression became serious. Put it on screen. The view screen showed a massive ship emerging from the spatial storms. Its design was unlike anything Thexatal had ever seen. Ancient, alien, powerful. The hull was dark and smooth with geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. Predecessor, Webb whispered. That is a predecessor ship. Thexatal felt his blood freeze. The predecessors, the ancient civilization that had ruled the galaxy millions of years ago. Everyone knew the legends. Their technology was beyond comprehension. They had built wonders and then vanished without explanation, leaving only ruins and questions. And now, one of their ships was active in the dead heart. Captain, Webb said urgently, the vessel is powering up. I am reading massive energy signatures. Weapon systems, I think. Can we communicate with it? I am trying every frequency. No response. On the screen, the predecessor ship began to glow with cold blue light. Thexatal recognized what was coming next. It is going to fire, he said. Chen grabbed the intercom. All hands battle stations. Engineering maximum power to shields. Helm evasive maneuvers on my mark. Captain, Webb said quietly. If that ship is really predecessor technology, our shields will not stop it. Nothing will. Chen looked at the screen at the massive ancient vessel preparing to attack. Then she looked at Thexatal. Commander, you might want to get back to your ship. Things are about to get interesting. No, Thexatal said. If you are fighting that thing, you will need all the help you can get. And besides, you saved our lives. It is time we returned the favor. Chen smiled grimly. Welcome to the human method, Commander. We are about to find out if it works against the oldest weapons in the galaxy. The predecessor ship fired, and space exploded with ancient light. The first shot tore through space like a knife through paper. Thexatal watched in horror as the beam of cold blue energy streaked toward the tenacity. There was no time to evade. No time to react. The weapon moved faster than physics should allow. Brace! Chen shouted. The beam struck the human ship's shields. For a moment, everything went white. Thexatal felt the deck shudder beneath his feet. Alarms blared. Then impossibly the light faded. Shields holding at 73%, Webb reported, his voice tight with shock. Commander, we just got hit with enough energy to vaporize a small moon. We should be dead. Adaptive shields, Chen said, gripping her command chair. They absorbed the energy signature and adjusted. But we cannot take many more hits like that. Helm, get us moving. Random evasive pattern. The tenacity dove and twisted through space. The predecessor ship tracked them with terrible precision. 2 more beams lanced out. The human vessel dodged one. The second grazed their shields and power flickered across the bridge. Shields at 40%, Webb called out. Thexatal accessed a console, linking to the swift wing. Mern, fire on that vessel. Try to draw its attention. Sir, our weapons will not even scratch that hull. I know. Just try. The swift wing opened fire with its particle cannons. The orange beams splashed harmlessly against the predecessor ship's shields. But the ancient vessel noticed. It turned slightly as if considering this new annoyance. Then it fired a single shot at the Vryn ship. The beam missed by meters, clearly a warning. The message was obvious, do not interfere. Interesting, Webb said, studying his sensors. Commander, look at this firing pattern. The predecessor ship is not trying to destroy us. It is testing us. Testing? Chen demanded. Marcus, it almost killed us. No, look. Every shot has been carefully calibrated. First shot, standard power. We survived, so second shot, higher power and frequency. We survived that too. Third shot, different energy type entirely. It is learning about our defenses. Thexatal stared at the data. Webb was right. The pattern was methodical, scientific. Why would it test us? Because it is not a warship, Webb said excitedly. It is a Guardian, an automated defense system left behind by the predecessors, and I think I know what it is guarding. He displayed a scan of the area beyond the predecessor vessel. There, hidden in the spatial storms, was a massive structure. A station, ancient and dark, orbiting a dying star at the center of the dead heart. That is what we came here for, Chen said. The mineral deposits. They are coming from that station. Another beam lanced toward them. The tenacity spun, but this time the shot was too fast. It struck the engines directly. The ship lurched and systems across the bridge went dark. Engines offline, the helm officer reported. We are dead in space. Shields at 15% and falling. Chen's jaw tightened. Marcus, ideas? We have about 30 seconds before that thing finishes testing and decides we failed. Webb's fingers flew across his console. The Guardian is following a pattern. Each test builds on the previous one. It is like a puzzle. Or an exam. An exam we are failing. No, we are passing. We are still alive. But I think the final test is coming. And it will be the hardest one. The predecessor ship began to glow brighter. Energy built around it like a gathering storm. Thexatal could see the readings. This next shot would have 100 times the power of anything before. Nothing could survive it, Captain, Webb said urgently. I have a theory. What if the Guardian is not testing our shields? What if it is testing our intelligence? Explain, fast. Every species tries to survive by resisting, by blocking the attacks. But what if that is the wrong answer? What if the predecessors built this Guardian to find species smart enough to think differently? Chen understood immediately. You want me to drop our shield, not drop them. Reconfigure them. The Guardian is about to hit us with everything it has. If we resist, we die. But if we let the energy pass through, redirect it, show we understand the nature of the test. That is insane, the helm officer said. It is exactly the kind of thing the predecessors would do, Webb argued. They did not want species that could fight. They wanted species that could think. Commander Thexatal, you said the Vrin lost ships here. I bet they tried to fight back. Am I right? Thexatal thought back to the records. Yes. The Vrin ships had fired every weapon they had before being destroyed. They had fought until the end. Honorable, brave, and dead. He is right, Thexatal said. We tried to win through force. Chen made her decision. Engineering, reconfigure shields. Do not block the incoming energy. Channel it around us and back toward the Guardian. Make our ship a conductor, not a barrier. Captain, if this does not work, if it doesn't work, we die half a second faster than we would anyway. Do it. The engineering officer's hand shook as he made the adjustments. The shield readings on the displays changed from defensive patterns to something else entirely. Channels, pathways, routes for energy to flow. The predecessor ship fired. Time seemed to slow. Thexatal watched the massive beam of energy cross space toward them. It struck the Tenacity's shields, and for a moment the entire ship glowed like a star. Energy poured into them from all sides. The light was blinding. Then miraculously the beam bent. The human shields caught the energy and redirected it in a perfect arc around the ship. The deadly power flowed harmlessly past them and back toward space, dispersing into the cosmic void like water around a stone. Silence fell across the bridge. Shields holding at 12%, Webb whispered. We are alive. The predecessor ship stopped glowing. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the ancient vessel began to move, but not toward them. It was moving away back toward the station. Captain, Webb said, the station is powering up. I am reading systems activating after millions of years of dormancy. Lights, reactors, computer networks. Are we safe? I think so. I think we passed the test. Chen slumped in her chair, breathing hard. Marcus, your crazy ideas are going to kill us all one day. But not today. Good work. Thexatal felt his legs shaking. He sat down heavily at an empty console. What just happened? The human method, Chen said with a tired smile. When you cannot win by fighting, you win by thinking. Over the next hour, the crew of the Tenacity and the Vrin officers watched as the ancient station came fully online. The predecessor ship docked with the station and became dormant again, its guardian duties complete. Webb analyzed the station's broadcasts. It is transmitting data in Old Galactic Standard. I can translate most of it. It is a research facility. The predecessors built it here in the most hostile environment they could find as a test. A test for what? Thexatal asked. For species worthy of their legacy. The message says any civilization advanced enough to reach this station, and smart enough to understand the Guardian's purpose, would be granted access to predecessor technology. Commander, this is one of their treasure vaults. There are databases here, blueprints, scientific knowledge millions of years ahead of anything we have. Thexatal felt overwhelmed, and humans have earned the right to it. According to the predecessors, yes. Chen stood and walked to the view screen, staring at the ancient station. Marcus, how long would it take to copy the databases? Days, maybe weeks. The data is enormous, then we had better get started. She turned to Thexatal. Commander, you and your ship are welcome to return to the Sovereignty. I know you have a report to make. Thexatal thought about his orders. High Admiral Korthos had told him to seize human technology by any means necessary, but everything had changed. These humans had saved his life. They had passed a test millions of years old, and they had shown him a different way of seeing the universe. Captain Chen, he said slowly, I should report this immediately, but I would like to request something first. May I send a message to my science officer? She should see this. What happens here is bigger than politics or borders. Chen smiled. Of course. This is a moment for scientists, not soldiers. Thexatal sent the message to Myrn, asking her to join them on the Tenacity. As he waited, he watched the human crew prepare to explore the ancient station. They moved with excitement but also caution. They respected the technology they had found. These humans, Thexatal thought, were more than anyone had expected. They had crossed impossible space, survived impossible conditions, solved an impossible puzzle, and they had done it not through strength but through adaptation and intelligence. The galaxy had underestimated them, but Thexatal would make sure that mistake was corrected. He would tell the truth about what happened here, and he would face whatever consequences came from it. In the depths of the dead heart, surrounded by ancient wonders and new friends, Thexatal felt something he had never expected to feel. Hope. Hope that the galaxy could be more than endless competition and suspicion. Hope that species could learn from each other. Hope that humanity's arrival among the stars was not a threat but a gift. The warning came 3 days later. Thexatal was aboard the Tenacity, helping Dr. Webb catalog predecessor medical technology, when Myrn's urgent voice crackled over his communicator. Commander, we have multiple contacts entering the Dead Heart. 7 Vrin warships. They are broadcasting combat protocols. Sir, it is High Admiral Korthos. He is coming here with a battle group. Thexatal felt his blood chill. He had sent his reports to the Sovereignty, detailing everything that had happened. He had recommended peaceful cooperation with humanity and shared access to the predecessor station. Apparently, Korthos had other ideas. Captain Chen appeared at his side. She had heard the transmission. How long do we have? At their speed, 30 minutes, Myrn replied. Not much time to prepare a welcome party. Chen activated the ship-wide intercom. All crew, return to the Tenacity immediately. We may have a situation. Thexatal followed Chen to the bridge. His security team was already there, looking worried. Through the view screen, he could see the Swiftwing taking up a defensive position near the human ship. Myrn, what is your status? Thexatal asked. Shields and weapons are ready, sir, but against 7 warships we cannot provide much protection. Do not fire unless I give the order. This can still be resolved peacefully. The Vrin battle group emerged from the spatial storms in perfect formation. 7 ships, each 3 times the size of the Tenacity. Their weapons charged and locked on target. At the center was the flagship Righteous Fury. High Admiral Korthos commanded from that vessel. Incoming transmission, Webb reported. Chen nodded. Put it through. Korthos's face appeared on the screen. The old admiral looked furious. His 4 eyes blazed with anger. Commander Thexatal, you are hereby ordered to stand down and return to the Swiftwing. You are under arrest for treason and unauthorized cooperation with an alien species. Thexatal stepped forward. High Admiral, I respectfully disagree with that assessment. I have acted in the best interests of the Sovereignty. You have shared classified information with humans. You have allowed them access to a predecessor facility. You have violated every protocol regarding first contact and technology security. Korthos's gaze shifted to Chen. Captain Chen, you are ordered to surrender your vessel and all data obtained from the ancient station. If you comply, you and your crew will be detained but unharmed. If you resist, my ships will open fire. Chen's expression remained calm. Admiral Korthos, I appreciate your position, but we passed the predecessor test fairly. The technology here belongs to humanity by right of achievement. We are not surrendering anything. Then you are declaring war against the Vrin sovereignty. No, Admiral. We are declining to be bullied by it. There's a difference. Korthos's face darkened. You have 60 seconds to comply. After that, my ships will open fire. The transmission ended. Chen turned to her crew. Options? We cannot fight 7 warships, the tactical officer said. Even with our adaptive shields, we would be overwhelmed. We could run, the helm officer suggested. Get back into the spatial storms and lose them. They would chase us, Webb said. And even if we escaped, this would cause a diplomatic incident. Earth and the Vryn would be at war. Chen looked at Thexatal. Commander, you know Korthos. Will he really fire on us? Thexatal thought about the admiral. Proud, stubborn, convinced of his own righteousness. Yes, he believes you are a threat to the sovereignty. He will eliminate that threat regardless of the consequences. Then we have a problem. Thexatal made a decision. He activated his communicator, broadcasting on all Vryn military frequencies. This is Commander Thexatal to all ships of the Vryn sovereignty. I am transmitting unencrypted data logs from the past 3 days. I want every crew member to see what really happened here. Commander, what are you doing? Korthos demanded over the channel. The truth, High Admiral. Something you apparently fear. Thexatal sent the recordings. Video of the Swiftwing being saved by the Tenacity. Audio of Dr. Webb explaining adaptive shield technology. Footage of the predecessor Guardian testing them. The moment when humanity passed a test millions of years old. And most importantly, the welcome message from the predecessor station, stating that any species reaching it had earned the right to access its knowledge. You are broadcasting classified material, Korthos said. I am broadcasting evidence. Every crew member in your battle group can now see that humans earned this technology legitimately. They saved Vryn lives. They shared information with us voluntarily, and you want to attack them for it. Thexatal could see the bridge crew on the other ships through his command link. They were watching the recordings, talking among themselves. Some looked shocked. Others looked angry, but not at the humans. Admiral Korthos, a voice interrupted. It was Captain Jexmar of the cruiser Stormwind. I have reviewed Commander Thexatal's data. The humans passed a predecessor test. According to galactic law and the ancient treaties, they have legal claim to anything in that station. Captain Jexmar, you are out of line. Korthos snapped. No, sir, you are. You are ordering us to attack a species that has committed no crime. I am formally requesting that you stand down and contact the High Council for proper orders. Other captains began to voice agreement. The battle group, which had been united moments before, was fracturing. Thexatal felt a surge of hope. Vryn officers were trained to follow orders, but they were also trained to think, and right now they were thinking that Korthos was wrong. This is mutiny, Korthos said, his voice shaking with rage. This is conscience, Captain Jexmar replied. I will not fire on innocent beings. For a long moment, silence filled the communication channels. Then a new voice spoke. It was measured, authoritative, and carried the weight of true power. High Admiral Korthos, this is Counselor Vane of the High Council. You will stand down immediately. Korthos looked like he had been struck. Counselor, I was attempting to secure. You were attempting to start a war based on paranoia and wounded pride. Commander Thexatal's reports reached us an hour ago. We have been monitoring this situation. The humans have done nothing wrong. You are hereby relieved of command pending a full inquiry. You cannot, we can, and we have. Captain Jexmar, you are in command of the battle group. Return all ships to the monitoring station. Korthos will be confined to quarters during the journey. Yes, Counselor. Korthos's face disappeared from the screen. The crisis was over as quickly as it had begun. Counselor Vane's image replaced Korthos. The elderly Vryn looked tired but pleased. Commander Thexatal, you have done well. Your actions may have prevented a catastrophic mistake. Thank you, Counselor. Vane turned to Chen. Captain Chen, on behalf of the Vryn sovereignty, I apologize for Admiral Korthos's behavior. He does not represent our true values. The High Council would like to open formal diplomatic relations with humanity. Chen smiled. We would welcome that, Counselor. Perhaps we could start by discussing how both our species can benefit from what we found here. That would be wise. I understand you have access to predecessor databases. We do, and we are willing to share some of that information in exchange for cooperation on other matters, such as navigation data for the Kalthros Expanse, safe routes through the spatial storms, mining rights to certain sectors, things that benefit both our peoples. Vane considered this a fair exchange. The High Council will send negotiators to meet with you. Commander Thexatal, I believe you would make an excellent liaison for these talks. Would you be willing to serve as our first ambassador to humanity? Thexatal looked at Captain Chen and Dr. Webb. These humans had shown him a different way of thinking. They had proven that strength came in many forms. They had earned his respect completely. Counselor, it would be my honor. 6 months passed. The negotiations were long and sometimes difficult, but they succeeded. The Vryn Sovereignty and the United Earth Exploration Service signed a formal treaty. Humans gained access to Vryn star charts and diplomatic recognition throughout the galaxy. The Vryn gained insights into adaptive technology and shared access to selected predecessor databases. But more importantly, two species learned they could work together. Thexatal stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital station, looking down at the blue and white planet below. He had read the files about Earth. He had known it was a harsh world, but seeing it with his own eyes was different. The planet was beautiful, dangerous, yes, but full of life and energy. Impressive, is it not? Dr. Webb said, joining him at the window. The human scientist had become a good friend over the months. It is terrifying, Thexatal said honestly. Those storms, those oceans. How did your species survive? By being stubborn. By adapting. By never giving up even when things seemed impossible. That attitude has served you well in space. Webb laughed. Space is easy compared to Earth. At least in space, the environment does not actively try to kill you every day. Thexatal thought about that. Perhaps that was humanity's real advantage. They came from a world so harsh that the rest of the galaxy seemed manageable by comparison. Challenges that stopped other species were just normal problems to humans. Dr. Webb, I have been reviewing reports from across the sovereignty. Human ships are appearing in regions we marked as impassable, mining operations in radiation zones.